Yes, that is right. Some of my fees are at nearly 40% of what I'm making. I'm paying out 40% in fees. Is that right? What's going on? Hey, it's Pam Duthie, and I just wanted another talk about the new Etsy billing account, the new payments, the new fees, because since the video of the other day, things have changed again. Things are happening so fast on Etsy, and I've got the new redesigned payment account, which, thank the Lords, is in pounds now, not dollars. So it should be in your own currency if you've got your account set up in your own currency, which is great. But I've been getting a few questions, and thank you so much for these questions. They really help me think and have to explain things a little bit better to you guys. But there's been a lot of questions, and there's been a lot of chat on all the forums and threads and everything about people talking about massive percentages for their fees. They're saying their fees are like 18-20%. And is this the case? How are the fees quite so much with this added VAT on and everything? So I wanted to look into this because on Tuesday what we talked about, and we figured out that roughly for an item of about £30, around $40, the fees we're looking at about 12%. 10% on the transaction, 5% on the transaction charge, and another 1% on the VAT on that, and 5% processing fee and another 1% on that. So adding up to about 12%. However, people are looking at their payment account and they're finding some much larger numbers. So I wanted to show you, first of all, some of the basics that I'd totally forgot about that people might not be remembering how to do, to show you how to work out your percentages, and then to figure out if these percentages are right. Is what Etsy's telling us right? Now, to get to your payment account, it is simply under your shop manager, click dashboard and payment account, and that takes you, if you've got the new account, this is where it is. And I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, the numbers are still not quite correct yet. So look, just ignore this just now. Work on your listings, work on your shop, wait till they've sorted out all the bugs in this just now. It's not going to affect us a whole lot. They're still sending the right money to our bank accounts. But here's what your payment account looks like. So we have telling us now my sales are covered. My sales covered my fees. So now what's happening is they're automatically taking out, when I make a sale, they take out everything I owe, and then everything left over they then deposit in my bank account. So we can see I've already had a deposit for today, so I have a balance just now of £30, and we can see now when I make a sale, what's happening is they're just deducting from the balance every time any charges happen. So this does make it a whole lot easier. I'm not going to have to remember to pay my bill. It's just going to pay itself, which is pretty awesome. But let's have a look. When we scroll down, there's some more data here, and this is what people are seeing and freaking out over. So firstly, we want to talk about how you calculate percent. And I know this is a bit basic for some of you and it's a bit complicated for others, but actually percent is pretty simple. It's just converting everything into if it was out of 100. So all you do, if you want to, so we have for this month so far, how much I've made in sales and credits and how much we've had in fees and taxes. So to find out what percentage our fees and taxes are of our sales, all we do is take this number, £83, and we divide it by £642 and then multiply by 100, and that gives us a percent. So for what we're looking at here, the numbers here, that gives us a percentage of 12.95%, so around 13%, which is slightly bigger than the 12% I talked about, but there's a reason. Our fees and taxes, now what we've got to talk about, a breakdown of what actual fees and taxes are, and we have fixed and variable fees and taxes in any kind of selling situation, and fees that are dependent on sales and fees that aren't dependent on sales. So I was just working out the fees that were dependent, that will come out of every single sale. But there are some fees that are just fixed to running a shop, and there are some fees that are variable but don't depend on whether you make any sales or not. So if you think about it in terms of a bricks and mortar, a regular shop, there's costs just to opening the door. There's costs to employing staff. There's costs to owning the building. There's rents, there's rates. All of these things are independent of if you even sell. And we have the same thing in Etsy, and we've got to think about this. So there's a breakdown of what all our costs are here. And there's a couple straight off the bat that are independent of whether I make any sales in the month at all. So firstly, we have this subscription charge. This is for my Etsy Plus account. So if I do nothing in the month, if I had 0 items in my shop and I kept the subscription going, then there would always be this £7 coming out of my account. That is a fixed, independent of sales charge. So the thing is, if I made no sales, then my percent would seem absolutely ridiculous. But if I made £10,000 worth of sales, then that is going to almost vanish. You're never going to notice that really as a percentage per sale. And again, marketing, you can click on the drop down here and it shows you what that's, it shows you a breakdown, but there's nothing to break down here. But my marketing is promoted listings. And again, I get charged for my promoted listings when someone clicks on an item, not if someone buys an item. So that the number of sales in a month, that doesn't matter to what my marketing fee is. And then our listing fee, well, these again, to list an item, it's going to charge me. So these are independent of sales, but renewing sold items, obviously this is a cost. We have to have a listing fee included in our creating a listing. So it's a little bit of a mix, whether it's based on whether you sell or not. If you sell, then that's going to go up a bit if you make new listings. So this is a bit of a mix. And then we have our transaction fee, which is the shipping transaction and the transaction of selling an item, and your VAT. So again, we have VAT on processing fees and VAT on seller services. So into this VAT number, this also includes the VAT on our subscriptions, the VAT on our marketing. So this entire number, this £83, includes not only what it costs me to sell an item, but also what it costs me to run a shop. So this is going to be larger. You're going to get, this is going to give a bigger percent for the less you sell and the lower priced your items are to sell. That will affect the percentage, because 20 cents listing fee on an item that's only £1 is a bigger percent than on an item that's £100. So that's just to give you an idea that this is not a fixed. You're going to find over the months your percentage is variable, because some of these things are dependent on sales and some aren't. And if we look, we can, this is just looking at November, but we can pop into the payment account, drop down, we can do last 3 months I've got here. It only goes back to about June, so don't bother trying to look further back. But if we look at the past 3 months, then we have the numbers here and a breakdown, but also when we scroll down we can actually see the individual months, so you can work out percentages here, which I did. So just like before, we divide £123.54 by 567, and then you multiply it by 100, which gives us 21.75%. 100 divided by 258 times 100 gives us 38.9%. There's my nearly 40% in fees that I said. And then for August, 77 divided by 312, I'm just rounding these roughly to say it quicker, gives us 24.5%. So that's a whole variable just over the 3 months. But what I'm going to tell you, These numbers here are not quite right yet. If we have a look, October's the last month, it's saying I've got £567 in sales and credits. If we go over to my stats for October, last month October, in sales I made £942. So don't put a whole lot of stock onto these numbers. I mean, let's go and have a look at September, because I don't believe this 40% here just now. So let's have a look at September. Get some custom dates. So this is all you have to do here. So pick out the 1st of September and finish on the 30th of September. What did I make in that month? Well, it's telling me already I made nearly £500, whereas my payment account is saying I made around half of that. So at the minute in time, it's not pulling up the right numbers. So when you see people on forums and everything telling you that they've got 40% fees, that is probably not the case. It's possible, however, if your subscription and if your promoted listings are costing you a fortune and you're not getting many sales for it, then this fees and taxes number will be bigger, which will make your percentage of your sales bigger. But at the minute in time, these numbers are nice to look at. This is giving you an idea of what everything's going to look like in the future. But I think very clear with just a couple of clicks there, I've shown you the numbers aren't quite correct yet. So don't freak out. Don't spend too much time worrying about these numbers yet. Just get a feel for how to navigate your payment account just now. And you can have a look at what your percents are, do a little bit of maths. Like I say, it's your fees and taxes divided by your sales and credits times 100 gives you the percentage your fees and taxes are. Okay, I hope that helped. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.